it back then, and then more recently before I got into office. So I do appreciate the work that you guys do. And what I wanted to share with you just a moment, just while I had the opportunity, is as you guys are looking at the different things that you do, we're having success with economic development in La Paz County. And what that's doing is almost creating its own problem, which is now we're really seeing the issue of housing. And it's been an issue, around the state. We hear it on the news. But back when Rose Acres was in the construction phase and all that, there was a study done by our Economic Development Corporation, not ours, but the local independent group. And they determined back then that there were roughly 300 people commuting every day from Parker to Havasu back. And it's because we don't have housing. And now we have Rose Acres in full operation. They've over 100 employees now. Since then, Mike with EWS has come on in our community and employing people. And now we have a new company that will be coming into the Dallas area, Unique Garage for manufacturing operations. That's going to be another, somewhere between 30 and 60 jobs. And that company, the individuals with that company, they've already talked to me about possibly looking at doing some housing development. But it's a big issue here. So I've talked to Supervisor Johnson up in Mojave about some issues they're having in the Havasu area. And so hopefully we can continue to move forward on addressing that housing issue. I think it is. Again, thanks for what you guys do.
Supervisor Minor, now just to elaborate, Rose Acres is SBA.
Correct.
I remember that when we first started.
I should have assumed you knew that.
Yeah, I thought it. I was like, I kind of know that, but okay. Any questions, comments, or anything for Supervisor Minor? Online, do you have any questions or comments? Okay, that being said, we'll go to item 1 of the agenda, discussion and possible action, approval of July 28, 2022 meeting minutes. This is all in your backup. Hopefully you all had a chance to go through it and look at it. Do we have any questions or concerns, any change for the meetings, the meeting minutes from July 28th? I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? And being heard, motion carries. Go on to second agenda item, discussion and possible action regarding approval of September 14th, 2022 special meeting minutes.
Dean Bishop, motion to approve.
This is Lisa. I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving right along to 3. Review of Mojave La Paz Workforce Development Board attendance resignation, request for nominations to join the WDB, new renewal appointments by the Board of Supervisors. Director Smith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, our attendance is compliant with WIOA regulations and laws. We have 3 members that are going to be up for a renewal of 2 years. Those members are Tommy Taylor, Gina Martinez, and John Deemer. And we also have, with that being said, a recommendation for Nancy Campbell. Nancy Campbell has been in and received a lot of recognition in the Havasu area. She has a construction company. She also has developed several small art studios, as well as being recognized as a Woman of the Year. And it just has a lot of great background in building, and she'd be a great asset to the area as well as to our need. She'll fill the construction for industry and demand. And that's all I have for those 4 people, and they'll all be 2-year terms as well as this panel.
I would like to entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. This is Lisa.
Lisa, second.
Dean Bishop, second.
All in favor? Say
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 4 on the agenda, ratification of letter of support for MCC Strengthening Community Colleges grant. Director Smith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So once again, we've worked with MCC in regards to these different letters of support. It's really, as the board chair, Madam Chair, you can sign these, but we always like to bring this forth to the board, just so the board can see it and have an opportunity to speak on these as well. And I'll entertain any questions if there are. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to entertain a motion to approve that. Here, get a second. Thank you, James. All in
This is Tommy
favor?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay, item 5 on discussion, approve the workforce development board chairperson to sign letter of support for MCC nursing grant. Right there.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we've been working with, once again, we've been working with MCC, Title I-B, Sarah Garl, workforce manager, as well as Dr. Kirk Lacey, to really make these grants move forward. Kirk or Sarah, would you guys like to, one of you, just otherwise, we have a letter in front of us. This is what we'll be sharing, and we'll be having our board chair, Madam Chair, sign off.
Any questions, concerns about this? Okay, I'd entertain a motion to approve that. Thank you.
Workholman second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay, item 6, to accept a partnership with Mahomet Community College and Arizona Western College to facilitate the Quest grant.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Board, I would like to share that we've met with both of the local colleges this week, MCC as well as Arizona Western College. We're in the process of working through the details with them. Most of the details have been worked out, but we're still in the process of the MOU. What that'll look like is we will have 2 employees that will be located within the local college. We will provide the training for HAC. That's our specialty as a Title I-B, working with Arizona and Arizona at Work. The only other part that I will add to this is these will require 2 new positions to be created for each one. So that's 4 new positions that will be created within Title I-B that will have to go to the Board of Supervisors for approval. This grant is a 2-year grant, and it's a little more than, it's just shy of $2 million for each county to receive to provide dislocated worker training. Are there any questions?
Question, Director. So just to be clear, it's $2 million per county.
Correct.
Any questions for Director on this?
Can I ask a question? But,
Sure.
So the pause portion of that, is that going to stay in LaPaz County?
Yes,
Or go to you?
Madam Chair.
Yeah, you will
I
stay.
just want to address that.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
So 2 things. In regards to that, the funds will stay within Arizona, within La Paz, Arizona Western. We're working with Arizona as well. So those funds will stay here. They'll be on the ETPL, so the different trainings, and we'll be looking at healthcare related. So Arizona Western College is who we'll be working with, and Kathy O'Campbell, who's here from Arizona Western College. It's going to be that key component of the grant program, as well as then when you look at Mahomet County, just so everybody's aware, that will be Kirk Lacey as well as Mary Mandola. So they'll be working together with us. We'll be providing that. It'll be hand in hand, really addressing those issues. And And the way the grant was written was if the funds can't be expended, right? Then they can be shifted around the state as well. Only if the funds can, and that would come from the local area that received the funds. So to give everybody a breakdown, so let's just step back just really quick and give a high level down. So the money came from the feds, came to DOL, right? So EOE, sorry, Equal Opportunity Office applied for the grant. That money went there. They did that in conjunction with the local colleges. So the local colleges and EO applied for that grant together, and then that's how it moved forward. So this grant, when you look at it, you have MCC and you have Arizona Western College. So, but as a workforce board, they wanted to make sure that the workforce boards were involved. So being that we represent both boards, that's how it comes together. I hope that answered everybody's questions.
That's Mark Ullman.
Sorry?
I just had a question. Was there an opportunity to continue on and renew the grant after 2 years?
Mark, I do not believe so. I believe this is just a simple 2-year program for this particular grant.
Okay, very good.
Madam Chair, if I may expand on this. So this is a countrywide grant that is from the Department of Labor. It is specific abilities for each state was to ask for up to $15 million. Arizona did ask for 14.9 of that. Budget is going to go across 6 local areas because they're Mojave and the Pause will be covering both areas for staff directly located. So those 2 staff will Pause will be housed right here at UWC. The other 2 staff will be at MCC. So they are right there to provide Title I-B and services for the DW Plus grant.
And just to be clear, without going too deep into the mud, but my question wasn't Mojave, because we work with you guys on this. I just wanted to make sure that the AWC portion was going to stay in Mojave, because we share, of course, the boundaries with you. So I just wanted to make sure of that.
Yes.
Do we have any other questions regarding this grant? So I will entertain the motion to approve this.
For a motion, Mark Ullman.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. We'll move on to item 7, accept the integration of Atlas software with all 4 partners. Director Smith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we've worked with Title I-B, has worked with all 4 partners in regards to Atlas. For those that aren't aware of Atlas, Atlas is an electronic software program that will allow for referrals from all community partners to be integrated. The nice part about the referrals is that unlike other programs, or just like even the paperless, it's a lot of tracking. For the one-stop operator, we have to track those manually, count them, tally them up. This will be very clear, not only when the referral is sent, but when the referral is picked up by the local agency. So now we can say, whichever agency sent the referral, well, we see you haven't picked up this referral in a week. What's going on, right? And so we can make sure that we're doing the follow-up and having that interaction on a much larger scale. And it'll just give us data to look at, moving forward as well. So those will just be the basics of that. And Sarah, I'm going to ask Sarah Garl, the workforce manager, just to detail maybe a little more of what she's done with the 4 partners to move this along.
Thank you, Director Smith. So with Atlas, we have discussed exactly how this referral system will be able to increase not only our connectivity with wraparound services for all of our partners, but also the portability. So when we send a referral and we're asking for services for an employee or someone within the community, and they say, okay, well, I sent the email, referrals there, you're human, we err, and sometimes you don't get that follow-up email. This allows real-time availability of saying, I can see that this person has received it and they have touched it. They have now been able to check boxes and what they are doing directly with that. We are also able to add in specific applications for our Title IV. When we send a referral, we are also required to have someone fill out the application for RSA so that they are ready to go instead of we're just sending a referral and then we don't have the paperwork ready, accessible to be sent cohesively together for that. And then there are different agencies that provide provide utility assistance and they don't have funding at that time, that they will be able to upload or note that they don't have funding. So we know, let's wait until that funding is allocated again, we're going to utilize other available. So the process of this is to provide very quick, expansive wraparound services for those individuals who have local barriers and timing. Our partners are very eager for, we're very eager for it to be ready to go out.
Sarah, can I ask you to also expand on how it will help as far as the texting and that kind of stuff as well, please?
Absolutely. So Atlas is actually under the umbrella of CTS. Don't ask me for that acronym right now, but that is its parent company. It has 16 different programs that it allows, and all of the individuals collectively within Atlas have about 30 years of experience within workforce. So this isn't medical referral systems. This isn't a different area. The workforce is very ingenuitive in how we do things and how those referrals and how the systems communicate and are able to track information. So with this, one of the core programs that we're utilizing with Atlas is that we can send out text messages to all of our participants, or even to plug in specific individuals who are in their follow-up period to say, hey, we have a hiring event. Should you have lost your employment, something has happened, you now know that we have this event ready and available in your community. We have available job opportunities. We want to make sure that they are aware of that and be able to bring them in as quickly as possible with real-time information.
If I could just make a comment as well, that with today's job seekers, that is so important that we were able to let them know that hiring events are there. They're going on to get people back to work as soon as possible. So I think this is absolutely a critical part of the whole system as well. Do you maybe have any questions, concerns, or comments about the Atlas software? Hearing none, I will ask for a motion to approve the integration of the Atlas software with all 4 partners. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. I'm going to move on to item 8, that move that to approve the MOU IFA amendment submission to 4 partners for consideration and agreement. Director Smith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So in regards to the MOU IFA, we're going to bring 3 items to the board that was in the highlights and track changes within the MOU IFA that was shared with you. Those changes relate directly to anytime there's a change in service, there has to be an update to the MOU IFA. We can amend it as well if all parties are agreeable. With that being said, the amendments that we're going to make is that MCC originally, when this MOU IFA was signed, a little over 3 years ago when it was developed, they were going to fund having a GED teacher within the one-stop system. However, that never proceeded forward, still within the MOU IFA. So we're updating that to not have MCC provide those services with Arizona at Work, because currently Arizona at Work already has a GED teacher providing that service on site ourselves. The next change would be the Atlas one, which we mentioned here earlier. Anytime there's a change in service or referral system change, we have to update that as well for the partners. So we're going to make that change. That was listed as well. The other change that we'll talk about here in a minute will be included in the IFA MOU is the one-stop operator. Because there's going to be a change there as well, we have to update the MOU IFA for the 4 partners as well, because of the cost funding, co-funding of the agreement requires cost share for the partners to be divided. And so with that being said, the one-stop operator was at 75, and we're going to be changing that with our next item. So that's what we have in front of us for the MOU IFA. And if we want to just go to the last page, or almost the last page of this, Rachel, that just shows the one-stop operator allocation as well, that would be great. as we go here, are there any questions? And I'll also add is that this MOU IFA goes until June of 23. So we will be bringing this back to the board again to update this and to move forward. So we'll be moving forward to update this with the board. Once again, as soon as we have all the details and that's worked out, we'll be negotiating with our core partners. We also have Title II that will be added into this because there'll be 2 new Title II partners that we'll have to update. So with that being said, this is the current MOU IFA that you see in front of you. Any questions?
Any questions, concerns for Director Smith? So I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to approve the MOU IFA amendment submission to core partners, consideration and agreement.
Motion to approve.
That's it. You. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Move on to the next item. This is discussion and possible action review of RFP for the one-stop operator director.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So there's quite a bit to discuss here. We've updated this, but I want to give the board a little bit of background information on this. So we came to the board at the last meeting. It was approved for the one-stop operator. We did that at $75,000. We knew that that was a low bid, but we wanted to see if we could get a one-stop operator on right away, being that, as you heard me mention here today, we had to update the MOU, the IFA, so we have to go through the whole process, right, of where that's at. So we don't have a one-stop operator currently. With that being said, this is a required partner. It is a required independent position that's required for the workforce for the one-stop system. So it's not like we can't not fill it. That being said, I sought guidance from DES because we had a hard time, meaning that when we put it out for RFP, we had a couple people inquire, but they really want to do a hybrid system as opposed to really coming into the offices and seeing the core partners and working with us and having those opportunities. And so with that being said, the procurement officer said that we really should take this back, update it for not only the dollar, but also for the hybrid system to be able to allow people to either work from home part-time, come into the office. And I also had meetings, I brought this to the Arizona group for all the workforce development areas discussion, and they said a lot of them do a hybrid currently. We also talked about pay in that situation. Several organizations were over $110,000. One was at $85,000. We met with DES to ask for further guidance as well for the position of how we can temporarily fill it, if that was the case. And so we met with folks in regards to myself and Madam Chair, met with DES. We told them that we'd be at $90,000, and they thought that was even low for the basic services and what we did. But we looked at our area. We do believe that the $90,000 would be justifiable. And what I'll say about that as well is when you think of the $90,000, it's not simply $90,000, right? Because that person is an independent contractor. So that means they're paying all their taxes, they're paying their medical, and they're also paying the insurance that the county requires for liability as well. So when you encompass all those things in and you start doing the math, when we were at 75, you're looking at that position would pay something like $30,000. Nobody's going to take that kind of position. So we raised it to 90, and we're going to send it back out to RFP. We have the RFP up. There were some changes to the RFP that I just want to highlight. There was the verbiage, as well as the 90,000. And this was sent yesterday, so I apologize if you haven't had a chance to see it yet. But you can see it's 90,000. If you go to the very end, Rachel, if we could, of the RFP, there's a part in here which we had to include under advisement from procurement, and this just really goes, if you go, no, it would come back down. It's at the big, it should be like, the synopsis of it is, just so everybody's aware, is that basically we won't engage in anything in regards to China and child labor laws and so forth and so on. It's a standard amendment that's being put to all of our contracts, not only for us, but throughout the country. So it's standard procurement guidance as well. And if there's any questions, I'll take those.
Just one point, and I don't know where you're at, if it's too late to do this or if there's a contract issue. On item number 44, it's the Mojave County seal use. It's on page 273. I don't know if we could add Mojave because we have the same prohibition as well on people using the seal.
You said number 44?
Yeah, you're on it.
Could you make that a little bigger for each, please? Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if it's a big, I just noticed you have it in there, so I'm assuming there's a reason, and we have the same issue here.
so we have this is for our one-stop operator. I don't think it, for this particular thing, I don't think we need to, because part of it is required to the one-stop. They have to follow the branding guidelines that are put forth. So if that's the case, we'll make sure that we just provide that to them, and we'll clarify that at that time. And then when we update this the next time before we send it out, we could, unless you have the verbiage, and then we could just.
Looks like it's a state law that says you can't use it, so.
Right, yeah.
I think all
I
they
think
have
it
to
just
do
says
is,
Mojave and La Paz
Right.
County seal use.
right,
And we're, so again, it's not a big deal, but I don't, the fact that one's mentioned and one isn't, somebody might argue, well, it wasn't in there, so we assumed it was. Sure.
Right. That's- Any other questions for Director on this? So I would entertain a motion to review the RFP for the one-stop operator.
This is Lisa, so moved.
Thank you, Lisa. Can I get a second?
That's right.
Beamer, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. On to the next item. This is for discuss and approve the one-stop operator special assignment for Mojave La Paz County Director.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this is what I was referring to earlier as well, that we had met with DES. DES then reached out to OEO. OEO said they'd be back to us by November 15th, as stated here. That's currently where we're at. What we were trying to do is to have something as a backup, right? Because if we go back out for RFP again and we don't get it, and here we are doing the same dance again. So we were just looking at a possible sole sourcing and what that may be. So that's currently where we're at. There's no action. Any questions?
I have a clarification, Director.
Sure.
So special assignment meaning the person that, because we don't have a one-stop operator and it is important part of our process, we have to have that. So we're talking about special assignment is like to get somebody maybe within that can do that temporarily into the one-stop operator.
So when we originally took this on and we were looking at this, we were thinking that we could find somebody else from within the county and do a special assignment. But having met with the county attorney as well as HR, this isn't something that we could do. So this would be, but we can do sole sourcing. And that's the part of that I wanted to just tie this back to, is that's the part that we'd be looking at and moving forward in that manner. But in regards to special assignment, that's not something that we can do. In regards to, because normally within the department, we can give somebody a special assignment and then pay them accordingly to do that. But with this, it has to be independent and it does not meet those guidelines. So we're just going to look at the sole sourcing, and that's how we're going to address this issue.
Thank you. I just wanted to make that clear. You and I have had this discussion and we talked about this, but I just want to make sure that the board understands what we're that. And since no action is necessary, we move on to the next one. Review and accept WIOA data validation closure alert fourth quarter. Director.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So Sarah Ungaro and myself met with DES in regards to this, just for clarification of how data validation would be done. They gave us a rundown on this. I can report that we were at 95 percentile for our data validation. There was 505 data validation points. Of that, we failed 25. But those have been corrected since, which is when they do it, you submit it, they find them, right? And then it's like, all right, you need to fix them, but you don't get to change the score, right? So the score is what the score is, and we still receive the 95%.
Any questions or comments? Yes, accept the motion to accept WIOA data validation closure letter fourth quarter. Ms. Beamer, can I get a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. On to the next item on the agenda, review and accept increased tuition costs for Phoenix Truck Driving Director.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to ask Sarah Garl, the workforce manager, to run through this. If she could, please.
Thank you, Representative. We currently do have Phoenix Truck Driving on our education training provider list. The tuition for each student that goes into that training is $4,495. At this time, we are having Phoenix Truck Driving start to provide remote campuses. Bullheads will start in December. We had initially had a tentative start date for November, but due to the ability to have it DOT certified for where they're going, we're pushing that into December. We will then be rolling out into Lake Havasu for campus. So anyone in that area will be able to provide for students. They're not having to travel, have additional expenses to do that for the participants. But it is an expense that it is on the school, not only to have a provider in that area, but also to go through those certifications with DOT. So with that, the tuition increase is being asked to be raised $1,355 to a total of $5,850 per participant. This will allow us to roll out Bullhead, Lake Havasu, and there will be a training also provided in Colorado City in this program here. Very excited to provide increases that would run tuition.
I just would like to make a comment as well. $1,355 is very, very minimal. When you're thinking about the additional services we're going to get for that amount. It just having that additional person, Colorado City, Bullhead, and then Lake Havasu campus is just amazing for that kind. I was expecting much higher of an increase. So I would like to please get a motion to accept the increased tuition cost for Phoenix Truck Driving if there is no more questions at this time. Beamer, can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Going to discussion of possible action, review and approve the adding CDL Class B courses provided by Phoenix Truck Driving School Director.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to ask Sarah Garl, the workforce manager, to walk us through this item as well.
We had pulled the communities in Lake Havasu, Bullhead, and Kingman, different employers that asked specifically for Class A's for their businesses. For instance, the part Lake Havasu City was also rolling out some additional services through their bus system, and Bullhead City, as well as other local employers who provide the service to their employees to get them to and from their businesses. They are needing Class A's without passenger endorsement, and we do not have anyone locally that can provide that. And with the changes from MDD across Arizona, they are not able to train their own. So we're asking to have this added on to the ETPL to provide that support to our community employers and to our community in general. I feel that there was some concerns brought before the executive committee on ensuring that someone that goes to this training does not suddenly get Class B and then come back and say, well, I can take more with the Class A. So the school has agreed to provide additional counseling to participants that are coming in specifically for Class B's. If this is what you were receiving, this is the training. A lot of the times we're seeing a retired workforce coming back into the community because we do have a disengaged workforce in certain age ranges. So with those coming back, this allows them to be able to have employment within your area. They're not going on the road. You're not having to leave the state or leave the area. They can have a job right here locally with good benefits. We are asking for this to be added on to our ETPL.
Sarah, do you have maybe an example, just so the board understands, because maybe not everybody knows about the Class B and Class A, maybe of some of the local employers that would be able to
Absolutely. The city of Kingman, the city of Lake Havasu, Grand Canyon West. We have Dot Foods in, and Valencia, who also said that this would be a great addition to classes we offer throughout Mojave and Tawas County. We rolled out initially in Kingman. We're not certain if it will go to other sites. We need to see exactly how much traffic we get between those areas, providing that support, and then as needed, we can reevaluate later on how we're going to support that.
How long are they talking the training is going to be?
It's going to be 2-week courses.
And also includes bus drivers also.
Yes, that's for school bus drivers. Yes.
Any questions regarding the Class B being added to the ETPL? Any questions or comments? Go ahead and motion approval to add the CDL Class B courses provided by Phoenix Truck Driving School to the ETPL.
Mark Olman, motion to approve.
Sorry, who was the second? Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. On the next item, to accept it, review and request the increased tuition for Regional Center of Border Health Medical Office Specialist, Nurse Assistant, and Phlebotomy Tech Director.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to also ask Sarah Carl to address this issue.
With increasing inflation rates of supplies, Regional Center for Border Health has come to us asking to increase the specific programs and their tuition cost and their supply cost for medical office specialists. That tuition was $4,990. They are asking for that to be increased to $5,780, which is about a $380 increase specifically on that program for nursing assistant. It was $2,850. We're asking for an increase of $220 to have that raised to $3,265. And for phlebotomy technician, that was $1,130. They're asking for an increase of $165 to a total of $1,575. So they're very minimal costs that are very understandable for the area, but also to combat the inflated rates that we're seeing across the board.
Any questions about the increased tuition?
Make a motion to accept the increased tuition.
Can I get a second? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Next discussion, and possible action, review and accept Mojave Community College ETPL updates.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ask Sarah Carl, the workforce manager, to address this.
These are very similar increases to our CDH, Regional Center for Border Health. We all speak in acronyms, I apologize. So with that, Mojave Community College has asked for these 3 programs for basic EMT, certified caregiver certificate, and nursing assistant have increases for their additional cost for immunizations, physicals, TB tests, background drug screening, if there is current flu vaccines that are needed, and additional testing that is required for each of those positions. Going into a hybrid sort of course I'm going to be able to offer in condensed certain non-credit funding. So where we see this huge need within the medical field, we can directly pull people in, give them the training, and get them directly out with those certs instead of going through a normal course. They're still receiving the same training, but in an expedited, more condensed place. We are asking for those tuitions to be increased to serve that need.
Any questions?
Motion, I'll make a motion to approve the Mojave Community College ETPL updates.
Thank you, Beaver. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda, to approve Mojave Community College additional programs to be added to ETPL.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll just say this has been great to see. Mojave County, the community college really is addressing a lot of the community needs. Sarah and her teams worked extremely hard to make this happen, get this on the ETPL. So at this time, I've asked Sarah and Carol to walk us through this, please.
So this is a spreadsheet that Rachel has us on right now that is going through additional trainings. Employers within the community, as we all know, small businesses here, we all serve as staff. COVID put us into a nice social experiment where we had a lot of people resign from positions or leave in the field that they were in. Others were promoted in a very accelerated fashion. Some of those people that were promoted did not have the supervisory management or staffing skills to be able to handle the surplus, the lack of workforce, and the new challenges in which they were faced with. So a lot of employers across Mojave and La Paz have said we have a need for training for our staff here now for supervisory, customer service, management, leadership, conflict resolution. With our partnership with MCC, they're asking to add 31 programs that are going to be able to be either cookie cutter or provided within different series to these businesses. We've already had them agree that they will send multiple staff, and we're working with our local chambers of commerce to fill these with a rollout in early June. The other two programs that we're looking to add in, along with those 31 programs, will be for general carpentry and a child development associate certificate, as we are seeing a decrease in teachers, and the need for that is major. We need to be able to support our school systems. We need to be able to support the other areas that are completed, providing the training, providing that support for aiming. We're asking for an additional 33 programs through Mojave Community College to be added on the TPL.
And go ahead and actually go through.
Starting with number 1.
Any questions or concerns for Sarah on this? Okay, entertain a motion to approve Mojave Community College additional programs to be added to ETPL. Thank you. Can I get a second?
Mark Ullman, second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Next one is to review and approve Arizona Western College additional programs to be added to the ETPL. Director.
Madam Chair, so I would also like to applaud Arizona Western College as well, bringing, I believe we have five programs to the ETPL for La Paz, as well as any other area that may need those. So that's great. So I'll ask Sarah and Darrell to walk us through those as well.
Thank you. So the first course that we're looking to add with AWC is for construction industrial safety certificates. Very similar to what MCC is offering, but so that we have it right here locally in La Paz to serve that need for our construction. The additional program will be for a nursing assistant certificate. So in partnership, we have RCBH, who is also serving the Paz community. This gives us additional resources to where in one class of school, we can route it directly into that nursing certificate. And that also partners us up onto that quest grant. So we're able to really serve the medical community that is severely lacking with staff and provide that pathway. We're looking to add a medical assistant certificate. So people will have a pathway to either go directly into clinical or into one of the administrative areas, medical field. We are pairing with AWC to add a professional IT support. This is a Google cert for our IT that is very well recognized across the country. We're extremely excited about this. We know that IT is needed. A lot of agencies are wanting to bring someone with a bachelor level education and are realizing that they don't have that direct education or need at this point. So we're able to bring them into small certs, give them the on-the-job training, and be able to help them find that pathway into higher education to support that need. Absolutely do that and partner with them on that. And for phlebotomy technician to also be provided at AWC, so that we will, again, similar to RCBH, we'll be able to offer it through them, through their training agency, as well as AWC, so that individuals have not just one, but various training opportunities to be able to get into these courses as possible, get out in the workforce.
Any questions or concerns about the AWC additional programs to be added to the ETPL? Entertain a motion to approve that.
Motion to approve.
Thanks, Mayor. A second.
Mark Goldman, second.
Thanks, Mark. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Move on to the next item. Review and approve the WIOA Title 1B Adult Whistle-Paid Worker and Youth Request for payment July 2022 through September of 2022.
Thank you. So these are the annual payments that we incur over the 3-month period for our programs. All of those have been submitted here. If there's any questions, I also asked our finance person who's registered to join us. So we can take any questions if there are.
Any questions? None? I would entertain a motion to approve. Can I get a second? Thanks, Beamer. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Next is we're doing just a discussion only and review response for Q3 documentation upload to DES Department of Economic Security. Director?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this is just the third quarter documentation review. Came back, there was no findings. Everything was good. Regards to the original slide.
Questions? Concerns? Now we'll move on to the reports, starting with director report. I don't really have a lot to report. I do want to thank Sarah and her staff for all the work they put into these. As you can see, there's a lot behind the scenes going on, and her and her staff do an absolute fabulous job putting this together, keeping us all on the same track and making sure we all understand what's going on. Since this is actually only my second official meeting as chair, don't really have a lot to report. I just want to thank you all for your patience, because I know this doesn't roll as smoothly as it did with Director Farmer, because I've done it for a while, so I'll get there. That's really all I have. Questions, concerns? Okay, that was me as the chairman. I'm now the director. I'll now send over to the actual director.
I don't blame you, but director takes way better than chairman.
I know, so I'm vying for his job, so can I go ahead and get a motion to put me in his job? All right, go ahead.
All right.
Go down.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
I want to be correct.
We'll make sure that you're not the chairman report anyway, so Madam Chair report. I would just like to once again say that the program's doing great. We're making headway. I've really enjoyed seeing for behind the scenes to share Mojave Community College as well as AWC, Arizona Western College, are developing strategic plans to work with us in regards to what that looks like. They're one of our biggest training providers. We need to have a strategic plan with both of those organizations. How that rolls out, that hasn't been something that's happened in the past, but we are moving in that direction, as well as having Sarah and her team do other trainings within the local colleges. So that's really making a difference. So seeing those relationships grow are very important. Also, I would add most of the stuff that I've covered today has been in my report. I would talk about, but we've already covered most of it. One of the things that we haven't talked about, but I would encourage, so if there's any board members, and I'll send it out after this, there'll be a meeting of the Arizona work in downstate in Phoenix for all the local areas. You're more than welcome. Some board members have attended in the past. So if you're interested, I'll send that out. Please feel free to reach out to me if you'd like to. That concludes my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I'd like Chairman's report moved to the top of this list, if that's okay.
It's your meeting. Done.
Just kidding.
Madam Chair.
God, I just guess I want to be director. Thank you, Director. I will go on to Performance Committee reports recommendations.
Yes.
Tommy, do you have a report for us today?
I'm sorry, I do not have anything new to report. Director Smith, do you have anything to add from our PRC meeting?
Madam Chair. uh, Board Member Tommy Taylor, this time I do not, but for the new board members that are on board, just so everybody's aware, I just want to give a quick update of how it's really supposed to work. So what I mean by that is why the performance committee is so important, the things that we do there, because for the firewalls and the way we have Mojave County set up is that myself, the board, anybody on the board can't give direct guidance to Sarah and her team, Title I-B, on how to do their job. The way that works is if there's a recommendation that can be brought to the performance review committee then takes that to the executive, and the executive then brings it to the full board, where the full board then takes that information, votes upon it, and then gives that recommendation or strategic guidance, how they would like to see program then fulfill those things. So we've had other recommendations come before, but we haven't had any now. But being that we do have new board members, I want to make sure that people are aware of the different firewalls and how we bring those motions forward. That's it, Madam Chair.
Do we have anybody from the Transportation Committee update? Do we have an update from the Transportation Committee?
Jerry Kellogg is not present.
Okay, how about the Program Barriers Committee update?
Madam Chair, that would be 10 years.
She's not present. Business Services Committee update? Dr. Lacy?
There's no updates for today.
Youth Services and
Hi, everybody. This is Amy West. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, Amy, go ahead.
So I have probably moved into more of a facilitator. The Arizona at Work folks are doing a great job. They have been at events. They were at the K-12 Partners event in Kingman. We have 2 more of those coming up. So that reach is definitely getting a little further because they are talking about the things and the services and all the items that they can provide to those students, those youth, and what they can do for the schools as far as even job support and placement. So that's a positive. All of our schools are continuing to have meetings, and Arizona at Work continues to attend those. We will work on our hiring events with Mr. Throneberry and Sarah and her team. And so I think we're moving ahead, doing the things that we wanted to do. Today is Manufacturing Day. So we have several youth that are out at the airport in Kingman working on that. We have done some outreach to some of our medical folks to work on some partnerships there and having some discussions about pop-up programs and how Sarah and I have had some brief discussions as far as how we can do some pop-up programs in the summer now that WAVE, our colleges and things like that can offer those students classes anytime, anywhere. So I think there's good things happening, and if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Okay, so we'll just move on to the WIO One-Stop Partner Reports. So we can start with the current priority list. Sarah?
I'm going, my current priorities, as well as my Title I-B adult participating for youth and our business services, all the same at this point, is that our priorities are exactly what we're doing and rolling out within our programs. So for youth, we are going to, we're moving forward into a lot of those meetings with the school districts across all of Mojave, including La Paz County. So we are serving both our communities cohesively. The hiring event for Parker and Simone, we are trying to combine together so that we have enough employers across this area who will serve both communities and bringing in the other schools as well. With that, we're also providing work readiness to the schools, specifically because basic soft skills is a thing, and being able to provide them that information, resume building, how to put together some applications, professionalism 101, as well as one of the key pieces that we are really pushing for is building resiliency within your employment. We know that the rate for youth engaged in the workforce is significantly low right now. We believe a lot of that is due to alternative employment. They're able to do reads, they're able to do things that are not out of the norm. So we're trying to also encourage them to do those things, but direct them into career pathways. And our youth coordinator, Warner Gregor, is doing a great job in coordination with all the school districts and a lot of our community partners to get those services. For adult dislocated workers, in cohesion with business services, we're focusing on the employees who are currently within the businesses that are lacking those skills, and in partnership with MCC, providing upskilling through those courses that they have that to create, and that we're moving forward on detail, but also for those who have been pushed into the workforce without the direct skills that they need. We're looking into those construction certs. We're looking into welding. We're looking into what the exact employers are needing and bringing them the individuals with a skill set first, or we're going directly to the employers and saying, who do you have that is a viable candidate in your staff right now that would want to move up that career ladder? How can we provide them that contingency of, we're providing you these services or these skills or this additional alternate schedule so that you can go to school, get what we need you to do, while also building you up within our employment ladder. Our business services is doing a great job coordinating with those employers and letting them know exactly what we can do to fulfill those needs. We know that first responders, whether that is dispatch, detention officers, EMTs, paramedics, are severely lacking. Our essential workers are next to nil at this point. We know that one local city has 17 open dispatch positions, and they're having their police force now come in and provide those services as it is in need, and they have to have that met. So we are going through with putting out a marketing campaign for those specific positions in detention, in dispatch, EMT, and paramedic, as well as CNA and caregiving, so that we can pull in a general public and say, hey, this is where you start your career. This is where you can change whatever you're doing now and move up within this area to provide them getting pathway, because oftentimes we see individuals that come directly into a dispatch position or a detention officer, and they have no idea of what that actually looks like. They don't have the direct training, they're on-the-job training, and they burn out extremely quickly. I didn't know that this is what I was getting into, and they've gone the other direction. We're going to try to change that and say, let's provide you the training. Let's give you what you need forefront, and then pair you with the employee. That also gives them a leg up of, you now have the ability to choose what agency. So that is what we're rolling out through the Hocking Cause of the students, and that is my priority list and my Title I-B adult dislocated worker use and services reports.
Any questions for Sarah on any of those?
Just one comment, you mentioned Sloan and Parker.
Yes.
And I don't know if you want to add to the list, but Portside has recently opened a new school that's going to be K through 12. It's a church, through a church, it's not a public school, but they would have students potentially.
Absolutely.
Drop there. If I get, I already sent it, I can send it to you guys. I'll have to get it, I don't know.
Perfect. That'd be great. Thank you.
So the next report is entitled to Adult Education and Literacy. Mr. Levy?
Howdy.
Hi.
Can you see me? No. How about now? Okay. Title II, just one item to report. Recently, the Arizona State Legislature set aside a bunch of money specifically for career pathways organizations. Yavapai College Adult Basic Education applied for some of that funding. And last Tuesday, the Arizona Board of Education chose our program and 6 other programs throughout the state to receive money for our IET program. That's the Integrated Education and Training. It's essentially a career pathway. An IET is dual enrollment with something from the ETPL and something from adult education, whether that's GED work or English as a second language. I just wanted to note that Arizona Western College was one of the recipients as well. So they will be presenting an IET program of their own. We'll be meeting with the Department of Education tomorrow to hear about the details and the actual award amounts. So we're excited about that. that is all I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we're going to Title III, Wagner Kaiser Program, Employment Service and Veteran Services.
Yes, so right now we are ramping up hiring events drastically in the area. We're partnering with Title I Business Services as well on that. Just recently we had one, casinos in Laughlin, which I know is a different state, but most of their workforce is all from Arizona. They had over 240 people come through the door, which is unbelievable. They had over 60 people walk away that day with a job, and well over the rest of them, over half of the rest of them, with at least set up for second interviews or background checks and things like that. So we are starting to see a large influx now of hiring events. Team available to do additional hiring events in Mojave and La Paz. We also were part of the stand down last week in Lake Havasu. So,
any questions or concerns about any of the reports? We'll move on to Title IV. Do we have on the line? All right. At this time, I would do my chairman's report since I had a director and did my report. The other thing that I want to say that occurred to me is hiring events are ramping up quite a bit. And I really, really admire the partnership between EBS and Arizona at Work. They do make a very seamless hiring event going on. So I just wanted to make that part of my report as well. And at this time, any workforce development board member who wishes to share the information can come forward with any announcements. And just one last chance to call the public. Anybody on the phone? This is the time you want to do any announcements, have any questions, or review anything we discussed today?
None at this time for Mark.
Anybody online? Hearing that, I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you, everybody.
Motion to adjourn. Thank you.